This is Vijay Tigura in a chef outfit. Wow, he's working as a happy chef, but still he suffered all his life with the rare bone condition. Now on the right hand side there is an X-ray taken in South Korea in a hospital called Konyong University Hospital, Daejeon. And Dr. Yugon Won have taken this X-ray. Here in this X-ray you see the pelvis. This is an X-ray of pelvis and abdominal. You see here my pelvis is very narrow and there is no space for my intestines. My intestines are very congested. This is all the space I have. If the pelvis would have been broader, then this abdomen, so this intestine, would have been more wider. It's very narrow pelvis. The reason why here you can see the curve. Here you can see the curve. The abdomen and intestine are completely getting congested. Even the ribs, you can see the ribs here are also more curved to the front because of narrow pelvis. See, the upper part of diagrams is Vijay's body to show how narrow his pelvic cavity and abdominal cavity is, and the bottom profile pictures are of an average body. Okay, let's take the corner picture of the average body. You see here the hip joints are wide enough, have a enough and broad pelvic cavity, and have a broad enough abdominal cavity, and have a nice solid legs. Now to compare with Vijay body, you can see this upper body have a same width of shoulders, but when coming to the pelvis, here you see is a very narrow pelvic cavity, a narrow pelvis, and you can see the hip joints are narrow inside. So it means that body is not balancing. Broad shoulders and narrow pelvis and narrow hip joints. Now to move further up, you see here the abdominal cavity also is very narrow. So here is the area where the whole organs are getting congested for Vijay Tigura. Here is the intestines and abdomen, liver are the main organs which are placed in this area, and these are getting congested. When compared to here, have same shoulders, and here have a broader abdominal cavity where the organs can fit properly. Now coming to this middle picture again, you see how his body is like a funnel shaped, a completely a V-shaped body, a broad shoulders, and from the shoulders to the hip joints, body is getting completely narrower. So small pelvic cavity again, small abdominal cavity. When compared to this picture, we have enough pelvic cavity, enough abdominal cavity, and also see the hip joints are outside. When compared to here, the hip joints are very narrow, they are inside. Now you see the legs of Vijay Tigura's. Here you see an average leg have a good calf muscle and a strong leg. When compared to Vijay Tigura's leg, have completely no calf muscle, very thin legs. So Vijay Tigura have a thin legs and a round upper body with a narrow pelvis and narrow abdominal cavity. Now moving to these side pictures. Now here you see how Vijay Tigura is gaining the weight. He have no space for his abdomen to go on the side. It's all protruding outside. Here you see very clearly is a side view where you can see his abdomen is completely bulging out with a narrow pelvis. So he does not have enough space at the pelvis, so the intestines are protruding out. So whenever he eats food, the stomach completely bulges out and the body does not balance. Thin legs again here with a narrow abdominal cavity, a narrow pelvic cavity, and very narrow hip joints. Again, when coming to this picture, you see very clearly how his completely abdomen is pushing up and bulging out. So because he does not have enough pelvic cavity and abdominal cavity, the stomach is pushing up, pushing diaphragm and causing less space to breathe, and then it's completely protruding out. When compared here you see the person have enough pelvic cavity so his intestines can go on the side. Now here you can see is a two different scan of a skeletal system of this is a normal person skeletal system and this is Vijay Tigura skeletal system. Now you can see the rib cage. Here the rib cage is broad enough. Here you can see the rib cage, how the ribs are protruding outside. They completely came to the front. You see here and you see here the distance between the backbone and to the whole rib cage and the sternum. Here the ribs are completely coming to the forward. Here the ribs are more wider and broad. Now coming to the pelvis, here you can see how pelvis is narrow from the side and here the pelvis is more broader from the side. So this is a reduced pelvis and the rib cage is broad enough. Here the rib cage is narrow and coming to the front, and here is where the complete conjunction of intestines and stomach is happening for Vijay Tigura. Alright, these two are my x-rays of abdomen and the thoracic region with the measurements. Here my measurement of my shoulders is 30.13 centimeters compared to my pelvis is 20.67 centimeters. This is very abnormal. Normal supposed to be normal for a normal person. The pelvis have to be 2 or 3 centimeters less than the shoulders measurement, but here I have a 10 centimeters less than my shoulder measurement. That is what it is. The problem is that is what my suffering is. Now, and in this x-ray you could see that how my ribs are more curved to the front and directly compressing my stomach, and you can see how my organs, how my intestines are getting congested because of a narrow pelvic cavity. Here you see Vijay Tigura lying position. The two pictures where both picture shows in a lying position. Let's talk about the picture in the down. Now I'll talk about the ribs. You see how the ribs are completely protruded outside. His ribs are more curved inwards and protruded outside instead of being broad. You see how high the ribs are, and then the body is completely narrowing down from his ribs to the pelvis area. So he don't get a proper support in the back because the ribs are completely protruding outside. It is almost like it is similar to a pectus carinatum. Now you see the diagram in the upstairs, same again lying position. Again you see the ribs are curved to the front and protruding outside. Narrowing down is to the pelvis, so less pelvic cavity, less abdominal cavity. Here is where the complete abdominal and intestine congestion is happening for Vijay Tigura. Now you see here the gap. Vijay Tigura don't get a proper support when he lies down. Okay, here in the top you can see this is doctor's notes by an orthopedic surgeon from India. He have diagnosed that I have a small and deformed pelvis, extra curved ribs similar to pectus carinatum, organs congestion, and then you can see here he referred to a pelvic surgeon and a thoracic surgeon for a corrective surgery. But unfortunately I could not able to find an expert doctor in India to operate on my pelvis and thoracic region. Now coming to the bottom on the right side, you can see my x-ray of my pelvis, where you can see very clearly my iliac joints are curved to the front, they are twisted to the front, and a small pelvis. Now on the left hand side, here it is my whole rib cage. If you can see in the bottom, the ribs are more curved to the front, and then they are compressing my stomach from the left side and my liver from the right side, especially my lower ribs, 15 to 18th rib are completely compressing my stomach and liver from both the sides. Now, coming to the surgery part of my ribs, my rib cage is completely a barrel shape, a drum shaped ribs with a sternum protruding outside. Now the surgery part gonna be, they have to broaden my ribs or widen my ribs to accommodate internal organs, especially my stomach and liver, as they are getting compressed now. So they have to widen my ribs from both the sides, and then put the braces to hold my sternum into its proper shape and the ribs to be the broad. Okay, using this pelvic anatomy, I'm gonna explain how doctor you gonna widen my whole pelvic bone. First, he gonna cut my iliac crest from here to here, and again from here to here from both the sides, and increase on either side, on both the sides, by inch and half using metal plates. So my whole iliac crest will be increasing by 3 inches wider, so that I have a more room for my intestines. And then he's going to rearrange my intestines to fit in the new widened pelvic cavity. And then now, to increase my narrow hip joints, he's going to cut in the down here and then widen my pubic symphysis angle by inch and half, and then use a metal plate here to hold that widening width, so that my sit bones or ischium bones will be widened by an inch and half, so I have a more room to sit. My hip joints will be widened by an inch and half, so my body can be balanced properly. This is a very complicated procedure which is going to take 5 to 6 hours of surgery. And to add more to my problems, I have a very less skin around my whole pelvic bone. Now the doctor has to do a skin grafting to accommodate the increased width of my pelvic bone. All I'm hoping is to live a normal life without pain and discomfort.